Hello, I'm Suzanne James. Thank you for joining us. We'll be speaking today with singer-songwriter, activist, musician and digital creator Les Thomas about his latest audiovisual masterpiece, his new song called The Firing Line, an anthem against genocide. It'll be officially launched at his upcoming Gaza fundraiser in Melbourne on the 31st of August. To talk to us some more about that, Les Thomas joins us now. Les, welcome.
Thanks so much, Susan. Really appreciate your time.
Now, just before we get into the song itself, tell me why you're an activist and how you came to use your formidable singer-songwriting skills to bring a message to the world that so many don't want us to hear right now.
Yeah, I don't think I was conscious of being an activist, but I guess as a very young child, I had a speech impediment, which I was bullied for. And it was interesting that the same people who bullied me for my impediment also bullied my migrant friends for where they and their families came from. So I always basically empathized and stood with people who were the underdogs and persecuted because, yeah, we shared the same struggles.
This song, The Firing Line, and the video that goes with it, I must say, it's a beautiful piece of work. As verse 2 says, never again is what they said, now I wonder what they meant. Did they speak for all of us, lives unequal, gold or dust? Talk us through where that lyric came from. What were the things bothering you the most when you wrote that?
I have basically the concept that I could have taken the option of writing a very specific song about Gaza, or I could write a song that has universal ideas behind it. And given that we live in a world where you've got the Gaza genocide, you've got horrific genocides taking place in Congo, Sudan, you've got the potential for the expansion of war with Iran and so forth. I think it's important to have a framework of politics and values that can address those things in a broad and sensible humanitarian way. When you talk about principles that came out of incredibly devastating historical tragedies like the Holocaust, never again has to apply to everybody in order for it to really make sense.
As the Black Civil Rights Movement said, no one has freedom until we all have freedom.
That's right.
Now, your lyrics go on to talk about how the world is running out of excuses for their complicity in genocide, not only in Gaza, but all over the rest of the world as well. A later verse says, who are you going to answer to when the light of justice turns to you? What will you tell your own child? What's left of the meek and mild? There has been a noticeable uptick in support in the broader public, especially for Palestinians. Are you seeing an increase in public awareness lately of the reality of what's happening over there? And what are people telling their children?
I don't have direct insight into what's happening in people's living rooms, but I can see by the size of the mass rally in Sydney, for example, that there is a huge public sentiment. There's huge levels of concern and opposition to the genocide that's taking place, which I think is really critical. So, yeah, I guess you can ask questions in songs that will invite people to bring their own answers, which I think is important because basically, for most of our lives, there has been this sort of hegemonic belief, Israel a victim in the scheme of things kind of thing, but fewer people are aware of the long history of dispossession and aggression and that colonial project and its impacts, what created that colonial project, and so forth. It's important for people to educate themselves, to learn from the history, and to take action and to speak to the people around them. That's how change will happen over time.
Yeah, despite it all, you somehow managed to finish the song on a positive note. with the final verse which says, "Don't be silent, please be brave, we still have so much to save. Bound in grief we carry on, makes no difference where you're from on the firing line." Now, even I felt a bit positive when I heard that. How did you do that? Where do you find that positivity and hope for the future when the world's in such a dark place right now?
I think we have to maintain a sense of revolutionary optimism, because it's easy to fall into a state of hopelessness. I think the powers that be want us to feel like we don't have any power ourselves. They want us to be passive, fearful, and basically impotent to change anything. But I think that all of us have a voice. All of us have the ability to link up with like-minded people, you know, joining rallies, lobbying politicians, taking action via our organizations, unions, and so forth. So we do have options and we do have the ability to act. And I think it's about basically making the most of our options. We don't decide the prevailing conditions, but we have the power to choose how we respond to them individually and collectively.
I'd like to talk now about some of the visuals. Now, a lot of the pictures and video in your music video are very confronting, but it's still visually spectacular to look at. We see the night shelling of a refugee camp, armed drones hunting down humans, a bombed out maternity hospital, which is very impactful, and of course the children, who are always the ones that fare the worst in any conflict
Hmm.
around the world. So if it's not a trade secret, Les, where did you get those amazing pictures and how long did it take you to put that project together?
It took me a fair while to put together, but I kind of, yeah, I started out trying to find more or less documentary footage. And as I was doing that, I felt like um, basically this is the same kind of imagery that we've all seen so much of in terms of social media feeds or news and that sort of thing. And I felt like it was an important thing to try to represent things in a more kind of artful way that showed the life and humanity and, the more beautiful depth of Palestinian people and culture. So I chose to use the motif, for example, of the kites. So kites are an important part of childhood play in Gaza. They actually set a world record for the largest number of kites flown at the same time in 2011. And I brought in imagery around olive trees, so being very symbolic and central to Palestinian culture and life. So, you know, things like that do happen, but they're very, very emblematic of the oppression and the genocide and so forth. Uh, I needed to do what I could visually on literally no budget, and I used a AI image generation platform called Midjourney. I created prompts based on my concepts, and then I would take the best image, and then I would animate that image, and then I would basically edit it according to the flow of the song, cutting it with me singing to the camera.
So what did you write first, the lyrics or the music?
I sat down at the piano and I'd been trying to process what's been going on for a very, very long time. My songwriter friend David Rovics has written more than 64 songs about Gaza, and I've only written one song previously about Palestine, which is specific. But yeah, this one I sort of let the emotions and the stark reality sink in terms of, yeah, what's going on and how I felt on an emotional level. And I think when you're creating a piece of music or art, one of the things that writers talk about is if there's no tears in the author, there won't be in the reader. But you certainly want people to feel what this is about and why it matters.
Apart from your heart-rending vocals on the track and obviously the piano that you've mentioned, I can hear classical violin in there as well. Is it? What other instruments are on the track, Les?
Yep, so that's a beautiful viola being played by Jason Bunn from the Victorian Orchestra. We also have Trevor Fernandez playing piano. We have Justin Olson adding drums, uh, and Jacinta Percy adds her beautiful voice to the track as well.
Okay, let's talk about your upcoming single launch and your fundraiser for Gaza. Tell us where and when that's happening on the 31st of August, Les, and what form will that fundraiser take?
Yep, so we're putting on a single launch and fundraiser concert with myself and the wonderful Kavisha Matsala. It starts at 3 p.m. on Sunday, the 31st of August, the end of this month, after one of the rallies. So, yeah, we're looking forward to sharing it in a room full of like-minded people, raising as much money as we can for a Palestinian-led aid agency called the Samir Project, who do very direct and effective work.
So that's on Sunday, the 31st of August at the Curtin, 29 Lygon Street, Carlton. Is that correct?
That's correct, opposite Trades Hall. So if you look up Les Thomas, The Firing Line Oztix, you will find it. And you might include a link with this interview.
Excellent. So, what do you most hope to achieve with the event, and what exactly will they be using the funds for? There's so much need over there, it's hard to tell which direction to put it in first, isn't it?
Yeah. So in terms of what I hope to achieve with the event, I hope to really try to bring people together and use the power of music to create, yeah, an empowering event. I think, you know, we need to deal with these extremely confronting and overwhelming things in a collective way. So yeah, I think music has a important role to play in that. So yeah, we'll be accompanied by Trevor and Jason who play on the track. Kavisha always brings her heart and soul to this, so it will be a very rewarding event in that sense, as well as materially supporting the Samir project. So I guess I chose the Samir project because they are better placed than just about anybody else as a Palestinian organization to know what's needed and where it needs to go. They deliver medical and food aid. So, yeah, I did put in a lot of research. It's good that they're not bound by the same red tape that a lot of international NGOs are. And yeah, we'll send whatever funds and proceeds we can. Um, can't really say what the amount would be at this stage, but the capacity for the venue standing is 300. So I encourage everybody in Melbourne to book a ticket early and please come along for this special event. We'd love to see you all.
Les Thomas, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today, and congratulations on your new single, The Firing Line, an anthem against genocide. And best of luck to you and your friends with your fundraiser on the 31st. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure for me. And yeah, all the best. Look forward to seeing people there.
You've been listening to Les Thomas. This is Suzanne James. Thank you for joining us.